My name's Doug Holdreed. I live in the region of influence of Pinyon Canyon in Trinidad, and in spite of Mayor Riorda's proclamation that he is the mayor of Los Animas County, I'm sure that you suspect that there is more diversity of opinion around Pinyon Canyon than perhaps his position might reflect. And I suspect there's more diversity in El Paso County than the presenters at this meeting might lead you to suspect. But I know that you know that. And I thank you for your patience in sitting through all of this. I'm actually a Coast Guard veteran also. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it's good that you're here. I think it's important that you hear people's stories and see people's faces, and that decisions aren't just made on the basis of numbers on spreadsheets. So thank you for that. And I just want to urge you, and I know you are, looking beyond just these orchestrated presentations and appreciating that there's more diversity to it than that. My own story began when I came to to southeastern Colorado as a young man, just out of the Coast Guard as a volunteer with the Mennonite Voluntary Service. That was back in 1971. I've been in that part of the country. I taught for 30 years at Trinidad State Junior College as an art professor. And after I got here, one of the things that I discovered were the canyons, and so I took long solitary walks through the canyons, and I discovered all of the prehistoric and historic stuff there. I discovered the graves of people like Kit Carson, who Fort Carson's named after, and all of this rich heritage that's in southeastern Colorado. And I fell in love with the place, and it kind of became the subject matter for my artwork. And then in the early 80s, the Army came along and asked us in Los Animas County to make a big sacrifice. They explained to us that they needed our land in Los Animas County to train for tank warfare against the Soviet Union, which at that time, was something that people were concerned about. So through our legislative process, we allowed the Army to use at that time it was more than it is now, but now 237,000 acres of productive agricultural land. It was a big sacrifice for Los Animas County. I mean, if you want to talk economics and the impact of federal actions on economics, Los Animas County suffered greatly from the loss of that agricultural land. The Cold War ended, but our sacrifices were still needed. They were needed to sustain Fort Carson, and they were needed to bolster the economy of Colorado Springs. We've never accepted down in Los Animas County that Pinyon Canyon is the Army's to do with as they please forevermore. When the federal government took that land away from private owners, it became the property of the American people. It became our property, and we've let the Army use it for over 3 decades now. It's a pretty long time. At the time that the Army took the land, it was on track to become a national natural landmark. It represents a big loss to us, a big sacrifice. 3,000 head of cattle were grazing on that land, and in today's prices, that's like about $3 million worth of beef. There are heritage sites, 4,000 archaeological sites on Pinyon Canyon that could be cultural heritage tourism assets for us. The natural beauty is something that is an economic factor for us. So we have hopes of someday getting that land back and doing something else with it. And basically the bottom line is that if there's a troop reduction at Fort Carson, that might protect the land. It might preserve it so that we could get it back in good condition so that it can be returned to the people of southeastern Colorado in the future. So again, thank you for coming and seeing our faces and listening to our stories and realizing that there's a diversity of opinion.